Get a personal video message for yourself or as a gift for someone else. For personal connections, shoutouts, birthdays, proposals, weddings, and much more. Enter your details about yourself so the celebrity can record a personal video message especially for you, including details such as your name, age, birthday, hobbies, or whatever else you include. As soon as the video has been recorded, you'll get an email with your link so you can share it on social media or download and keep it. Celebrities record videos as and when they can, usually within 2 weeks. But if you want a video for a specific date and it does not look like it will arrive in time, you can cancel it and get an instant refund at the click of a button. There are hundreds of celebrities to choose from and many more joining every day. Search by category or genre, buy a gift voucher, get updates and offers, and encourage your favorite celebrities to join so they can connect with fans in a fun and unique way. Raise money for their charities and much more. So order your video now for yourself or for someone else.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith Andrew. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Elli, the King of Broadway.
It's good to be the king.
Absolutely, it's great to be the king.
That's right.
And now for people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. That you should never give up and to prove people wrong. Show them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. And you should prove to them you can hashtag break the labels. So that being said, half hour, 37 minutes of your time. You have as much time as you like. And it's uncensored. Freedom of speech, freedom of self-expression. Get up, walk around, show us your place. You can say anything you want. And starting off, I'm going to ask you the very interesting question that everyone wants to know, especially me. You are a former rabbi turned entertainer. How did that happen?
Well, I'm still a rabbi. You don't lose the ordination. How'd that happen? I grew up performing. I was from a very musical family, and my mother involved me in all the activities at the Jewish Community Center and at our local synagogue. I was the little Arab boy in Milk and Honey when I was 10. He's the one that opens the show. So the bug hit me very, very early. And all through junior and senior high school, I was in the performing arts. When I was in high school, I decided to pursue a course of being religious. I got involved with an organization called Chabad. I don't know, many of you viewers might know of it. And I became, frum is the term for a religious Jew. And I went away to yeshiva. And so after that, I got my rabbinical ordination. And so I kind of put my performing career on hold. Fast forward many, many, many years, back to the 90s. I got the bug again. And I started out in Florida, where I was living, in Miami, which had become quite a film hub at the time. Was in a couple of films there. And but the Broadway bug never went away. Always wanted to perform, always wanted to sing. So I moved to New York in 2004, and within a year I had my SAG card, my AFTER card, they're now one union, and my equity card. And here I am. But you never stop being a rabbi. As a matter of fact, I have a Facebook and Twitter platform called The Actors Rabbi. You can go to Facebook/The Actors Rabbi or at The Actors Rabbi on Twitter. And I still counsel people to the acting community, to the entertaining community. And we have people over here for Shabbos meals on Friday night and Saturday. And we're just, as active as we always were.
No, that's really nice. And what we have in common is actually I'm Jewish too.
That's good to hear.
And the other, I didn't mean to interrupt. I do apologize.
That's all right.
And the other thing I was going to say is my father grew up Orthodox.
Okay.
And we used to go to temple, but, for some reason we stopped going. But I think the long story short is they were asking for too much money.
Ah, there you go. Well, that's why a lot of people like to belong to Chabad, because Chabad doesn't have any membership dues or fees, and high holiday services are always free, as are all services, always open to the public and free. So that's a good thing. And so here I am, a Shomer Shabbos, which means Sabbath observant Jew, trying to make his way in TV, film, and stage. It's been a challenge, but part of my getting into acting was to help to make sure that the portrayal of Hasidic Jews was more accurate than it was. It had become almost cartoonish and buffoonish with how they dressed Hasidic Jews and how they treated them on film and TV. And so, thank God, in the 13 years that I'm here in New York, I have made a lot of headway changing attitudes in the film and TV community. So, they know me in production, trust me. Sometimes they don't want to.
Well, I do have a couple questions for you, but starting off, I'm going to ask you the political one is, do you get stereotyped for certain roles?
Yes. I have a what they call a comp card that models use. A comp card is usually used for the print and modeling community, and it's a collage of several different photos. The reason that I use that, and of course I was advised against it, but I do it anyway. The reason I use that is because if they just see a picture of this, then it's Rabbi.
Yeah.
Period. So I have pictures of me as a biker and as a landlord type with a t-shirt and suspenders, and I have a bunch of different pictures so that they can look at this and say, oh, this is just a guy with a beard that can play anything. As a matter of fact, I can't even count the number of times that I've been a homeless guy on Law and Order and many movies and things like that. I've been professors, I've been grandfathers. And of course, yes, I'm kind of the go-to guy for the Hasidic Jew. And I've helped productions get, one film we did, we had 125 Hasidic background that they needed. I helped them get those. And for Law and Order, we had 85 once. So, I'm kind of the go-to guy for Hasidic background, and that's been kind of a second career for me, so that's cool.
No, I met a lot of Hasidic Jews that are really nice, and some are just, assholes. But you get that.
You get that in every community and every kind of people, and it's not unique.
No, I agree. And I was gonna say, in every race, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, Spanish, Jewish person, everything's cut in half, and it's always you gotta have that 50-50 of good people. And you get the assholes. But you can't...
Well, I like to think that the percentage is a lot smaller of the people that aren't nice, but each to his own.
Well, just give or take. I'm not really good at math, but I always will get things like 50-50.
Okay.
But the next thing I was going to ask you is, you mentioned when you were younger, you started in a play, but what was your first acting? You mentioned you were an actor in a play when you were younger, but what was your first acting role?
As a child, that play you're talking about?
Well, from then to now.
Oh, I did a lot of things in the first one was in a musical called Milk and Honey. It was the opening song of the show. Then later on, I was Arab in West Side Story. Are we seeing a pattern here? I was the Arab boy in Milk and Honey. I was Arab, and never mind. And and then I did pretty much everything from Crawler Home in The King and I to Julius Caesar in my high school's production. Our high school drama teacher, Mr. James Rawley, who's no longer with us, his son went into the business also and became a playwright, and he had staged in New York a version of Julius Caesar which was set in fascist Italy, and they all wore Italian fascist army outfits as if they were soldiers for Mussolini. And so we did that in high school. The high school was not happy about that. But yeah, I was Julius Caesar in that. And one reviewer told me that it looked like they had cast Raymond Burr as Julius Caesar. But the role I never got to play is Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof. It was promised to me for high school for my senior year, but the school determined that it was too ethnic for a public high school to do. And so we did The King and I instead. And the minute we announced that we were doing The King and I instead of Fiddler, the local Catholic high school announced that they were doing Fiddler. So I guess it wasn't too ethnic for them.
Right.
So the title of my autobiography will be the role I was born to play but never did.
Well, do you think people are too sensitive? Is that a problem? Or do you think they have to be politically correct?
Well, this was 1973 in Los Angeles, California, and I think the majority of the students at the school were probably Jewish. The area in the San Fernando Valley, North Valley that we lived in was very Jewish. I don't think it was a problem of that. I think it was a problem of the principal feeling that he might alienate somebody. The truth is I couldn't tell you. I don't know what went on in their minds, and they're both not around anymore, so I can't ask them.
Now, my next question I was going to ask you is, you were also a comedian. Yeah, how did that happen? The same thing for acting? You just decided just to do stand-up?
Yeah, I've always kind of been a funny guy. I always crack jokes. Psychiatrists will tell you because I was a heavy child, so I overcompensated. But I think it's just built into the personality. And I tried my hand at stand-up. Unfortunately, the traditional stand-up venues are not for me. I've tried them. Usually they fit me between drug crotch toilet, me doing family style things, and then crotch drug toilet humor after me. And so I'm not funny. To an audience that comes to hear, how high you got when you were banging your girlfriend, I'm not funny anymore telling, jokes about family and kids and Jewish things. So I kind of shy away from the actual stand-up comedy. I use it when I'm doing my shows. I've done a couple of one-man shows. Just 2 weeks ago, finished my 5th annual Hanukkah at the Metropolitan Room with Elli, the King of Broadway, and friends. we had some really nice crowds. This year it was at the Triad Theater because the Metropolitan Room is in transit right now. We had some pretty packed houses for the show, and it's the only genuine Hanukkah show with real Hanukkah music. And I had a four-piece band, which was stellar, absolutely out of this world, and three great singers along with myself that have all, either been on Broadway or been in regional productions. And so there is where I use my humor. Besides singing in the show, I come out and I tell some jokes. I have some Hanukkah top 10 lists and things like that. So I've always been a comedian. I've been involved in improv for many, many years. I love doing improv. I was co-founder of a Shomer Shabbos improv group here in New York called Improvidox. I don't think they're around anymore. And I taught improv for many, many years. And I was a school teacher for about 20 years, and I used it in that. So comedy and humor and everything has always been a part of my life. So yeah, I would like to do more comedy. I think one of my friends that worked with me in the Hanukkah show, he and I are planning to do a show in 2018. Not sure what yet, but we're going to do something.
Hey, if you ever need an opening act, maybe I can be part of it.
Hey, that sounds good. Do you play the kazoo or the harmonica or something like that? What is your opening act?
Well, I can just come out and tell people and plug my show.
There you go.
Just for an idea.
Hey, all right. We'll put that on the idea board.
My dad always said teaching is always like doing 8 hours of stand-up.
8 hours of stand-up is really tough. But teaching is being in front of an audience. Your father a teacher?
Yes, he's been a teacher for past 36 years.
Wow. So it really is. And teaching is just like acting. You have to entertain a room full of people for whatever time you have them. In the modular system, it's an hour at a time, and in the elementary schools, you're right. It's an 8-hour day you get an hour intermission for lunch.
It's true. Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, what do you see at this point in your life? What is next for you?
Well, that's a very, very good question. I have finally gotten a manager, so I'm hoping to get more what they call principal roles, starring gigs and things where I speak. There's a lot of stuff shooting here in New York right now, so the opportunities are plentiful. I'm also in the process of creating a one-man show based on the songs of Alan Sherman. I don't know if you know who Alan Sherman is. For those of you who don't, he wrote a song called Hello Mother, Hello Father. Here I am in Camp Granada.
I heard of it.
There you go. So he wrote a lot of comedy parody songs. So I've been working with his son in Los Angeles, putting together a show of that. As I said, I've got plans for a show with my friend Stuart Marshall. And, who knows? Who knows? We're, in the middle of the Jewish year. So I got plenty of time to figure it all out. We'll see. We'll see. I would like to have this be the year that, the acting career takes off and I become the household name. But, I have to push Matt Damon out of the way. I don't think he'll like that.
Hey, never say never.
No, of course not.
Now, the next thing I was going to ask you, it's kind of funny. I sort of, you're a singer, and that brings up singing, and about all the songs. Why isn't there any good Jewish music? What I mean by that is, like, you look at the Christmas music and everything, it's all written by Jewish people, but then you look at our music, we only have one song, it's like dreidel, and it's like, really? It's like, how does that work?
No, see, that's what my Hanukkah show is all about. My Hanukkah show is all Hanukkah music, mostly about Hanukkah. Some of it is about miracles and lights, which is also the theme of Hanukkah. We got a couple of songs in there by Broadway people. Stephen Schwartz wrote a beautiful Hanukkah song, what's his name? George David something, I can't think of his name right now, wrote a Hanukkah song for a group in the 60s called the Belmonts. It's called 8 Days of Hanukkah. I did a lot of research on this, and there's a lot of Hanukkah music. There's, if you have an Amazon Echo, there's a Hanukkah playlist there. Pandora had a Hanukkah playlist. There's, these days there's plenty of Hanukkah music. There's plenty of Jewish music. There are Jewish music radio stations online that you can find, and it's all there. It's all there. It's not just the days of Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, and dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. There's a lot more.
Yeah, I agree. Now, my next question I was going to ask you is, have you ever worked with people with disabilities, either in acting, singing, stand-up, or anything along the lines that you did in your life? Have you ever worked with people with disabilities?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, going back to high school, I was in one of my periods in school was community service, and we had in my high school, Granada Hills High School in Granada Hills, California, we had a room in our newest building, and the room number was L5, and so the students that were in L5 were all special needs kids, and there were about 40 or so of them in there, and 3 times a week, because we had, when I was in high school, we had an experimental program called the modular schooling, where we had 6 periods, and on the first week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you'd have periods 1, 3, and 6. 1, 3, and 5, and Tuesday you'd have 2, 4, and 6, and then Wednesday you'd have 1, 3, and 5, and Thursday, etc., and then it switched the next week. So each period, instead of being an hour long, was about 90 minutes long, and so you got a lot more time, especially good for science, the arts. You got more time to do your experiments and work on things. Horrible for math and geography, because you had to sit in these horrible classes and do arithmetic for 90 minutes rather than, your typical hour. But yeah, so either 3 times a week or 2 times a week, I got to go in and work with the L5 kids, and part of what I brought to them was we had a newspaper that we put out monthly, and it was called the L5 Zinger, and we put on shows, and I worked improv with them. So that was in high school. Then fast forward to my first year of marriage, I was living in South Florida, and I had the first day camp, the Gan Israel Day Camp. It was the first Jewish day camp with a special needs program. And that first summer, we had to hire 3 counselors because we had 75 special needs kids, in addition to 125 regular needs campers. And so we had the first learning disabilities and special needs program in a Jewish day camp in the Southeast. And then have I acted with people? Absolutely. I'm on several committees in the SAG-AFTRA union, and we work with people with disabilities. I'm involved with the Real Abilities Film Festival that is at the JCC every year. What else? I've been in a couple of movies and TV shows where there were people with special needs. So yeah, I've been around the block. I've had my share of contact, and love every minute of it. Love being able to help out and give back. And the most important thing, and it's what I stressed when I was in high school with the L5 class, and in my special needs program in the Camp Gan Israel in the southeast, was mainstreaming. These children and adults, they need to be mainstreamed. I don't believe in pigeonholing. I don't believe in that for anything. I think that we are all one people. We all have our own special needs, whether they be disabilities, handicaps, or whatever you want to call them, or whether we just need to be around people. But I believe in mainstreaming, and it was really heartwarming to see elementary school age children reacting to the special needs kids in the camp when we took them bowling and when we took them boating and swimming and whatever it was, and how all of a sudden their maternal and paternal instincts came out, and they didn't want to make fun of the kids. They wanted to help them.
Yeah.
They wanted to be able to make them just like themselves. And it was that nurturing instinct that brought out in the kids. And for anybody that thinks that, you have to keep special needs kids away because, someone's going to make fun of them or whatever it is, it's quite the opposite. There's, like you said, there's not nice people in every walk of life,
yeah.
But the majority of kids take that nurturing instinct and they go to help rather than to mock.
No, I agree. And sometimes if you make jokes in a good way, it's good to laugh at yourself. You can't just
Absolutely.
My biggest thing is I walk around with emotions on my sleeves. So,
Okay.
But I make fun of myself. My brother makes fun of me. But you can't take yourself too seriously because you would probably become like, if that's the case or something. But
absolutely. Well, making fun of somebody is great if it comes from a place of love.
Yeah.
If it comes from a place of hate, then it's never good.
It's true. It's always good to have a balance.
Absolutely.
But with that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Thank you.
Fine, Mr. Elli. I just want to say thank you for sticking with us.
My pleasure. What a great commercial.
Now, the first thing I'm going to ask you is social media. Can social media make you or break you? And I know you started your career back in 1973, about that?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
With today's day and age, do you use it or do you think that's all past you?
Oh, no. I'm very active on Facebook. The King of Broadway on Facebook, all one word. I'm very active on Twitter. That's TKOB, The King of Broadway. And Instagram, I'm on Instagram from time to time when I can remember to use it. And as a matter of fact, I have I have 3 Twitter accounts actually. TKOB, Broadway Kingdom, which is my other website for reviews and video interviews, and let's see, what's the other one? It's 4 for my casting work. Jew Got It Right Casting. It's a play on words. You use Jew Got It Right, you've got it right. And that's my also my consulting firm where I do consulting about Jewish things in all things media. So can social media help? I think social media in this day and age is crucial to an entertainment career. You have to be able to connect with your fans, connect with the public, potential fans, casting companies are using it more and more to send out casting notices and to hire people and email. I have more emails than I can even count. So, yeah, I think social media is very good. On the other hand, it's like absolutely everything else that we've talked about today. It can be used for good, and it can be used for the opposite. So, and again, there are nice people on social media, and there are the opposite as well. Thank God that in every one of the categories that you and I have covered today, the good outweighs the bad.
Right.
If it ever gets to a point, God forbid, that it's the other way around, we're in a lot of trouble as a society.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, the other question I was going to ask you, the first thing is, don't forget to send me those links. They will be in the description. And
Absolutely.
I'll definitely follow you, and you can follow me back.
Absolutely.
But the big thing going around in my town, I'd like to get your opinion about this, is do you think Jewish people get a bad name, number one? And also, what's your opinion about trying to find the right words for it? Say building, but also some people call it manifest destiny, or whatever the hell the word is. But some people just think you always have to have it one-sided, where you just build. So I give you a perfect example. There's a place across from ShopRite. It was filled with woods, and they knocked it down, and it's just old Jewish houses. And then there's somewhere else near another place. There was all woods, and all these Hasidic Jews come up, and they just knock things down, and they build. What is your opinion of saying, okay, it's fine, you want to have a house, but where do you draw the line as saying enough is enough? If that makes any sense.
I kind of see where you're coming from. Do you live are you near Lakewood?
I have no idea where that or what that is.
Okay, all right. I didn't know that in your town there were a lot of Hasidic Jews building. I didn't know that. So let's go back to why is it a problem?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a problem. I think if the Mormons needed a place to be, they could build. I mean, you're not talking about them knocking down protected lands or endangered areas. You're talking about undeveloped areas. New York has a major housing crisis.
Yeah.
Hasidic Jews tend to have larger families than most people do. To put a family of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or even more in Manhattan is impossible. It's not even practical. There's just no place to do that unless you are, filthy rich and you can afford an entire floor of a building for your family. Just doesn't happen. You can't put 5 children in one room and live in a 2-bedroom or even 3-bedroom apartment, which, by the way, 3-bedroom apartments in Manhattan, besides being scarce, are $6, $7, $8, $9, $10,000 a month. So it's not feasible for most people. So Brooklyn was the next option, and Brooklyn's run out of space. Brooklyn has got the same housing crisis that Manhattan does, and again, the costs have risen, and so the next moves were upstate. First it was Muncie, and then Monroe, and Lakewood, New Jersey, and Lakewood is spilling over into Tom's River, and it's not just, Hasidic families, but it's all types of observant Jewish families. And so I guess your area is now the next most underdeveloped spot where people need to find housing and need to be in communities. So that leads to the next part of the explanation. Observant Jews don't have the same housing requirements as other people do. If you're not an observant Jew, you can live anywhere because you have no restrictions. Observant Jews have restrictions of the Sabbath to begin with. So from sundown on Friday until an hour after sundown on Saturday night, we don't use any type of electronics, we don't drive, so everywhere we go has to be by foot. And on the Sabbath, we go to shul, we go to the synagogue, which is why Orthodox Jews live in enclaves, or ghettos, as they would like to be called. And so you have to live within walking distance of your synagogue. You also like to be close to kosher shopping. Not every grocery store carries enough kosher products for the average observant Jewish home. You need to go to a kosher butcher. You need to have kosher dairy. You need to have all these things. So you have specialized kosher markets. You don't want to drive 2 hours to get to a kosher market. So those pop up in the community. And then, of course, your regular Jewish-owned businesses, people have to make a living, and it's easier to work in your own community. So that's part of why they become so populated and there's such an enclave of people, because you like to shop and eat and go to school and go to your synagogue, all within proximity to where you live, and that makes it very convenient. And I live in Riverdale in the Bronx, and it's a fairly Jewish neighborhood, mixed in with people from all walks of life. And I'd like it to be more Jewish, to have more kosher stores, more kosher options for restaurants and eating. But at the same time, I'm close enough to Manhattan that I can be at a Broadway show in 40 minutes.
But if I may go and wrapping up,
sure.
My dad works in the Shiva, and during the day, what is your opinion about people being hypocrites? They can play to God all day, but then they do the complete opposite afterwards. It's kind of like you smoke cigarettes, and then it's like I feel like Hasidics are not supposed to smoke cigarettes, but day to day, or they talk about the football movies or Star Wars. If you guys are not supposed to watch, TV. So it's kind of like you go to religious school to learn religious things, but at the same time, you're doing the complete opposite in your free time.
Okay, well, the two examples that you gave are both misconceptions. There's nowhere that it says that you can't smoke. You can't smoke on the Sabbath and on holidays, but Hasidic Jews do smoke, and there's nothing to forbid them from doing it. I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think smoking is good, and there's a known thing within the Chabad community that the previous Rabbi, the chief rabbi, told all of his Hasidim that if you're under 21, you should not smoke, and if you're over 21, you should quit. So he was not a proponent of smoking. So, but there's no Torah prohibition of smoking. So that's one misconception. The other one about watching television. There are many, not just Hasidic, but observant Jews, modern Orthodox and up, who don't watch television because of the influence that it could have on their children's lives. Television has become fairly promiscuous. I was watching something the other day on the USA Network, which, although it's a cable channel, It's still a non-pay channel, and they use the F-bomb. And I was absolutely blown away. They use a lot of four-letter words that 10 years ago would not have been permitted. And so even Disney Channel has scantily clad girls and a lot of sexual tension between very young characters. I'm talking preteens that are having boyfriends and girlfriends on the shows. And so there's a lot of religious, observant people who don't want their children being influenced by these secular matters. Orthodox Jews go out of their way to keep the sexes segregated until they're ready to be married for, more reasons than just preventing teen pregnancy. And so that they can concentrate on their lives and their educations and not have peer pressure about, dating and all these other relationship issues that come about in the secular community. And, you have 10-year-olds on TV taking to their rooms because they broke up with their girlfriend. I mean, where does a 10-year-old come off having a girlfriend? It's just, it's not healthy for our society to be so promiscuous about these type of things. So there are many Orthodox and Hasidic Jews that don't watch TV, but there are just as many that do. I had my share of people who have, come out against me for being an actor and being in TV and movies, and how could you do that? And a few years ago there was a major incident with one of my background actors being in a movie, and it made the newspapers and TV. They blew it all out of proportion, but he was an actor from a Hasidic community that doesn't allow TVs, and he was in a movie, and it cost him dearly. He had to move out of Williamsburg into a different community because his kids were thrown out of school. So, there can be extremism also. Again, referring back to Lubavitch, the Rabbi allowed his talks that were on weeknights to be broadcast by satellite, even though that would cause people to buy televisions and video recorders to record them. He felt that the dissemination of Torah wisdom by any means possible was important, and if using television and the media to get it out there, then by all means, that was the way to do it. So again, continuing our theme, there's good and there's bad in everything. You can use TV to watch videos about Torah and Judaism and about nature and good things, or you can use videos to watch, again, completely the opposite, which are not good things. And we hope that the good wins out over the bad, as in any situation. So I don't call that being hypocritical. I call it more of measuring your choices and weighing your options. And growing up, my kids all were allowed to watch TV because I grew up with TV. It was a part of my life, and I didn't feel it was important to give that up. However, we did monitor closely what they watched, and certain things were allowed, and certain times were allowed for watching TV. And my kids were all brought up before the age of cell phones and tablets.
The good years.
What's that?
The good years.
The good years. Although we did have a computer in the house, and I had a beeper, and I was one of the first people to carry one of those brick cell phones, the ones with the big antenna on top, so the kids could get a hold of me. And people want to know, oh my God, you have a portable telephone? What's next? You're going to have a TV in your watch. And guess what? I've got an Apple Watch. I can watch videos on this. Who knew? So it's all about your choices and what you do with them. And it's like I said, you can watch the Brady Bunch, or you can watch pornos. So, we hope that people make the right decisions.
No, I agree. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air.
Okay, sure.
We're wrapping up our interview segment.
The off-the-air questions, people are going to want to know. What are we going to do about that? We'll have to make a follow-up video to talk about those.
Probably.
Okay.
But wrapping up our interview segment, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction, and what made you say yes, and how can people follow you on social media?
Oh, I don't know. There are lots. There are lots of people. So we'll. I've already posted. I posted on Facebook that we were going to have this interview, and when you get your editing done and edit out all the bad parts, all the terrible things that I said, I'll post that online as well, and hopefully all my followers will get to do that, and I'll even post it over at BroadwayKingdom.com. We've got about 1,100,000 hits on that site, so it'll get some traffic, I hope.
To be honest, I didn't say anything wrong. You didn't say anything wrong. This is one of my favorite interviews.
Oh, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun too.
My last question for you is: when I first approached you, what made you say yes, and what was your first reaction?
I'm a publicity whore. Any way to get my name out there? No, it sounded intriguing. You and I had never met. You led with the fact that you have a disability, which, frankly, I don't even see. I don't know why you have to lead with that. I don't think it's important to me to mention. But I'm glad to see that you're doing good work and getting your name out there. And so I thought it was a good idea to do it.
No, I appreciate it.
Did I make the right decision?
No, absolutely.
All right, good.
Yeah,
good.
I do have a couple questions, so just stay tuned. Well, wrapping up our segment, it was a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2.
Thank you. The honor was all mine.